Good morning. Hope we are all good. Slightly different theme this morning as we go into midweek where we have total body bar and yoga to start the day. But today I wanted to focus on a fear of looking silly, which I think actually stops a lot of people from actually starting things, achieving the goals that they want, achieving probably true happiness in their life, maybe more fulfillment, happiness in a way of maybe doing things that carry a lot of fear. But when you think about things that you've done in your life that have a lot of fear around them, maybe anxiety around them, once you've done them, they almost give you a euphoric feeling that is so powerful and amazing, and you can't believe you were ever so fearful of it. Whether that's public speaking, and I'm very open about that before, that used to probably be my biggest fear in the world, like in life, I would say. As far as that, it felt so big at the time that I would do anything, and for too long I was essentially allowed to get away with it. And the unfortunate truth is I probably spent 3 years, if not more, when I was around 18, just avoiding them and actually missing out on being a lot more doing what I wanted to do then, in terms of how I spoke, how I communicated, what the things I did. It probably stopped me doing a lot of things that I would have done then. But the lesson from that is to not let fear or fear of looking silly, or, as I'm going to go into now, comments from people who are obviously coming from maybe quite of a bad space, who knows, when there's a load of other people who could find what you're doing really helpful. And I'm going to relate this in a second. But so, for example, take a comment yesterday, and I get quite a lot of comments on things negative but mainly good, and it's very easy. So I could take 36 odd comments which are really, like, yesterday, really interesting, Matt, thank you, couldn't recommend this program enough, all these great things. But you can't help but focus on the one that goes, bad video. Nothing else, just bad video at like 2 a.m. in the morning. But you have to step back then, and I have to think, okay, what was going through their head then? I wonder why they wrote that. It could be nothing to do with me whatsoever. Now, I could let that go, I better not do anything like this. And the reason I bring that up is I spoke to someone yesterday who was quite anxious about starting this. There was many reasons why, from worried what other family members and friends would say if she started something else, that she'd failed so many things before. And she was like, if I start something else again, my other half, they won't say anything. Morning, Nan. They won't say anything to her, but she's worried that they'll be thinking it. Oh, she's starting something else again. Worried that she'll need a room to do her workout in, and everyone will be watching, or everyone will be saying, what are you doing that for? You're doing that wrong, because they're into it already. And all these things, the fear of looking silly, perhaps. And it's really interesting that our fear of looking silly, like I said, can often stop us fulfilling our happiness, which then actually benefits the loved ones and the people we care about more. For example, if I'd have never got over my public speaking thing, I'd have helped probably not many people. I'd have been writing, that was about it. I wouldn't have been able to do any personal training, any coaching, any talks in the NHS, Oxford Brookes Uni, lectures, anything like that, anything. I wouldn't be doing this now, and I'd be probably shifting into a blame mindset, looking at other things, that why I didn't do it, and all because really, when I look at it deep down, it's a fear of looking silly to people that probably are more worried that they'll look silly in other situations anyway. And if you think about that, and how many things that holds people back in terms of their health, in terms of their fitness, in their work, it could be their relationships, anything really. And I wanted to talk about this today because it really hit home yesterday with someone saying, all those things, especially around lockdown, everyone's quite in together. So it's not like, you just go into an exercise session and you come back. Everyone kind of knows about it if you're in the same household. They're probably watching this video now. And the interesting part of this is thinking about really your whys of wanting to do it, what happens if you didn't do it? Like, what's the alternative if you don't do the thing that you're worried about you might look silly doing? You might not look silly on the outside, but in the inside then, you're probably not going to be as fulfilled as you can be, which impacts your happiness, which can impact how you are around others, impacts our confidence, our energy levels, the things we say, what we do. And that then hits home to how important this is. And remember, you will have times where it's not perfect. You do have bad days, if you like, bad videos. You know, you're not going to please everyone all the time. The important thing to remember is to keep score of this. We're doing a habit accountability challenge at the moment. And in this challenge, people just say, these are the 3 things I'm going to do today. These are the 3 things I'm going to do today. And then at the end of the day, they say whether they did them or not. We use pretty much quite a simple food tick, fitness tick, self-care tick. And if you really want to simplify it down to one thing, use this question. This is a great question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? I'll repeat that. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? That is probably my favourite ever question. Ray Keller, I hope I got his name right. That's who said it. But for me, for example, if I'm bed by 10, everything else is easier. And it just simplifies things down. And that's what we need to do sometimes. And keep score. Make sure you keep score of these things. Because sometimes you could say, so I'll give you an example yesterday. 2 out of 3, someone will say, well, I scored 2 out of 3. But you still scored 2 out of 3. Your attention's now looking at the positive, not just the negative. I controlled my snacking better. I did this workout, but I didn't do the workout I said I would. But you still did a workout. Now our attention is suddenly looking, and it'll be hard at the start. We're looking for positives now. You still did that. You might not have scored 3 out of 3 and did what you said what you do, but you did a lot more than you normally would have done. What would you have done last week? Well, I've just gone off the rails. And you're back here this morning, setting your next 3 tasks. And showing up again. And actually, the consistency, and that's why we've got prizes for this consistency, the more you post. Because actually just showing up each day will increase your chance of success. And that pretty much is the difference. That fear of looking silly is hard. It might stop someone doing something so that it's easier to put it off. Short term, it seems like that. But if you think long term, it's a hell of a lot harder. That energy wasted on fearing, worrying. Because the longer I kept off public speaking, for example, the harder it got to ever do. And like I always say, it was only when a professor said after a presentation, what do you actually want to do, that it hit home. And I thought, I'm actually stuck. I'm just delaying the inevitable of going into the real world by doing qualification after qualification. Not that they were not helpful, like doing a master's in Loughborough, in Oxford Brookes, but there was an element that made me choose them, that I could just slow down how much I had to communicate, because I could hide behind different things. Interesting. So, that was quite an off-topic one, normal, but different in many ways. But let me know what you took from that. If you have any questions on that, do let me know. And I will log off now, as we are going to be into Total Body Bar at 6:30, and then yoga with Bindu at 7:15 this morning. So, any questions, as always, do let me know. Stay safe, eat your protein, drink your water. And if you do want more information about a 28-day Kickstart, send me a message. I'll get you the details. Take care and have a great day. See you soon.